Okay. Let's wait a minute for people to log in. Hey, hello everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. We're going to start in more or less a minute, just giving people time to log in. So please take a virtual seat and we'll start very soon. Okay, I see some familiar names logging in. And in the meantime, while we wait for the others, why don't you use the chat and let us know where you are joining us from? Myself, I'm in Amsterdam. Colleen, where are you? Can you?
I am in Mugwanago, Wisconsin, in the middle of the United States.
Okay. And Marina?
And I am 45 minutes away from Colleen.
Okay, excellent.
Also in Wisconsin, Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, so we have Tennessee, we have Austria, we have
hello.
Portugal.
Portugal.
We have Paulo in, I think, Rio de Janeiro, Paulo. And then we have Cordoba, Rio, Istanbul.
Oh, nice.
All right, excellent. So let's get started. So welcome everyone. Welcome to today's Gala webinar. My name is Isabella Massardo, and I'm Gala content strategist. And today we have as speakers Colleen Beres, who is Chief Strategy Officer, I think, yes. At Terra Translations, and Marina Ilari, who is CEO of Terra Translations, and we're very excited and happy that they accepted our invitation to present today. As always, feel free to use the QA box to submit any questions that you might have for our speakers, and I would invite you to do so throughout the presentation as you think of them. We will have a Q&A at the end of the presentation, of course. The webinar will be recorded. I will send you a follow-up email with a link to the recording as soon as it is available on our website. So, Colleen and Marina, I'm going to leave the floor to you.
Thanks, Isa.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Hello, everyone, and welcome. I love that we have such an international crowd today. So welcome to the Death of the Cold Email, Rethinking Sales Strategies to Create Genuine and Sustainable Partnerships. We hope that you find today's presentation to be thought-provoking and that you can take at least one tangible tip to implement today. So we plan to chat for a total of about 30 minutes, and we aim to reserve about 20 minutes for questions and open discussion at the end. So please feel free to comment and post questions in the chat box.
Definitely. So what is the point of today's conversation, and why did we propose this topic? It isn't because we don't think the cold email doesn't have a specific time or place. In many instances, they do. However, when thinking about the strategies we were having the most success with when formulating new and sustainable relationships with clients, the cold email just didn't have a place in that equation. Not to mention, when I think of my own day-to-day behavior, my eyeballs have about a 3-second tolerance for a cold email. So I look at the name, do I know it? I read the first sentence of the email, what are they trying to say to me? And then I skim the email to try and understand what service or product they're trying to sell to me before it usually goes directly into the trash. So why do we think the cold email is overarchingly ineffective? Well, first, sales is personal, right? We've all heard it. People buy from people. Human connection is really vital to doing business, and there are fewer things as sterile as a cold form email. And second, people want to know that you're interested in them, in their business, in their life, before you start selling to them. So at the end of the day, so much of this comes down to solving a problem and developing authentic relationships.
Yes, and before we do dive deeper into this concept, we like to introduce ourselves and also cover the agenda. So my name is Marina Ilari. I'm CEO of Terra. My mother started the company over 25 years ago. And until 2016 or so, she and I represented the entire sales department. So we built our business the best way we knew how talking to people, learning about their problems, and then simultaneously growing our business to meet those needs. When I took over the role of CEO, we were a company of 20 people, and we are now have grown to over 250. We went from being a single language vendor to a multilingual vendor, and we started seriously pursuing a major passion of mine, which is video games. This became one of our main areas of specialization, which we will discuss the importance of later. And I've learned so much during this chapter of growth for our company. It solidified me and what I wanted our reputation to be in the industry, and who I wanted to be for our customers, a trusted partner, not just a vendor. So I'm excited to talk to you about what I've learned along the way.
And I'm Colleen Barris. I currently hold the role of Chief Strategy Officer at Terra, and my primary responsibility is developing and overseeing the sales department. So prior to my time at Terra, I did not have experience in the localization industry. I did have the privilege of being a part of many different growth stories, growing revenue, growing membership, growing product lines, but never establishing and operating a sales department charged with growing a client portfolio. So for just over the last 15 months, I have learned about establishing and building a sales team. And in the spirit of authenticity, I will be perfectly honest and admit that it has been one of the toughest jobs I have ever done. I'm learning, I'm growing, I'm pivoting every single day. And really my motivation in being so transparent about these lessons is twofold. First, if I'm talking about authenticity, I need to practice what I preach and talk honestly with all of you. And also, I want to be able to save some of you time and effort by teaching the lessons that I've learned along the way. So I'm really excited to dig into this conversation with all of you. On your screens, you can see a picture of us from San Diego at the Gala conference 2 years ago. It felt really appropriate to use this fun picture for today's chat.
So what do we have on the docket for today? We want to start by exploring the evolution of the cold email. Where and why did it all start? How did we get here? And what's happening today? Next, we'll discuss customer preferences, buying patterns, and how they have changed. We will then dive into the real meat, which focuses on tactics. What role can inbound marketing play in this equation? How can you build a reputation and presence on social media? And how is this all rooted in a spirit of authentic sales? Now, what if you don't have the budget or the bandwidth to charge a marketing or a sales team with these responsibilities? Where should you start, and how should you allocate your efforts? We will address that. And finally, we will save plenty of time at the end for questions and conversation, as I said. So we'd love to hear about your experiences if you are willing to share.
So people want to raise their hands or put in the chat box, who feels like 1993 was only a few years ago? Saying this out loud is very hard for me, but it was in fact 30 years ago. Gulp. 1993 is truly the year that email was considered widely adopted. Shortly thereafter, companies started replacing paper sales letters with emails. And at first, this was a one-off strategy, right? But then, of course, there was innovation. Technology caught up, and we have someone in the 90s to thank for the blast spam email. It wasn't until 2003 that the FTC implemented the Can Spam Act, which was the first national standard that regulated commercial email. So it wasn't the Wild West anymore. There were rules. Now, that meant that tactics and technology had to adapt to not only align with these regulations, but also to tolerance. Sales professionals became much more savvy. Platforms were created to allow for customization and automation. And then companies started investing in research, right? Big data, understanding the science of consumer insights. And even most recently, AI-driven spam filters have become very, very advanced and very sensitive. So why are we taking this trip down memory lane, right? It's to confirm that the cold email had a time that it was at a peak. and where it was much more willingly received. However, there are many factors working against the strategy now that should make you question if the time, effort, and technology that you're investing in it is even really worth it. So the question then becomes, what should we do instead?
So if we are suggesting that you move away from cold emails, how else can you drive new leads, create new opportunities, build a pipeline? Well, first, we will explore what trends and preferences we see in the buying cycle. And this cartoon makes me laugh because it really should say like 20 years ago and 10,000 unread emails. But so let's go back to that buyer preference piece. What does your ideal customer of whatever you're selling they really want? How do they want to engage? And what kind of relationship will be most beneficial to them? So while some people want a straightforward quote from English into Spanish for a handbook, a one-off content, the ideal partnership that we're hunting is one that we are seen as consultants, as disruptors, as change agents, educators. When you can modify someone's stance about a practice or the value of an investment, it is going to root a relationship more strongly. So next, the warm outreach is really where it's at. People don't want to, generic content shoved at them by people they don't know. So close to 70% of buyers won't engage with you if the information that you're presenting doesn't apply to them. And as I mentioned before, the entire goal is to care about someone else before you ask them to care about you. And finally, that which we cannot hold matters most. It sounds pretty philosophical, right? So what I mean is that buyers are more concerned about the intangible criteria of how they feel, what kind of relationship has been developed, that when you're buying a product. The industry we work in isn't pulling into a car lot and inspecting features and promotions, right? Buyers want to feel authenticity.
So revisiting this question, if you aren't using cold email campaigns to engage buyers, how can you successfully execute this initial engagement and build a pipeline? Sales is still a numbers game. The farther you cast your net, the more people you reach, the more valuable your messaging, then the higher your chances for finding legitimate leads. Let's take a look at some methods involving content creation, building a strong reputation, using social media in a smart way, and having a spirit of generosity to generate a robust pipeline.
So first, inbound marketing. What is inbound marketing? Well, probably everyone here knows, but by definition, it is a digital marketing method that helps you attract customers to your business by creating useful content and experiences that resonate with audiences. These are tools that you create to help potential clients come to you. So to break it down, SEO optimization is going to be the biggest and the best investment of time and potentially money that you can make.
Yeah, and while SEO is typically handled by a marketing department, the sales department really should be intimately involved in the strategy definition to ensure that the two are aligned, right? And this can also be applied to your own individual content creation to help your personal branding efforts. SEO optimization or optimized website content is super powerful. So we really encourage you to approach it from the perspective of the consumer, but with the insight of someone who understands the power of keywords and key phrases, right? Earlier, Marina mentioned the importance of having a specialization, an area of focus. By creating focus, you have a better chance of getting qualified people to your site. Now, this isn't to say that you can't have a broad portfolio of services, but it really speaks more to how you intend to market yourself.
And as you can see, we got really inspired with the memes in this presentation. We kind of got carried away. So I hope you find the humor in it. But ultimately, the better formulated your keywords and the better you curate related content, the more visibility you will have to potential clients and the more leads that you will generate. You want the reader to determine that you are the best at whatever you do without you promoting we are the best. So what's going to kill SEO optimization efforts is really overdoing it. So keep it simple. Think about what your clients want to read, learn, and understand. And now let's talk about some other methods that will engage potential leads.
Content creation. We've mentioned it already, but this is content that's either hosted on your company's website to drive traffic or information that you publish on social media platforms. We suggest focusing on specific topics. So taking a deep dive into a subject that relates to your expertise. What are you learning? What questions would you like answered? Really allows you to demonstrate your knowledge in an educational way. And through uniquely curated content, you can share insights about your culture, about your strategy, and your capabilities without blatantly saying, this is what we do. Now, be sure to keep it fresh and maintain some sort of regular cadence. So whether it's weekly or monthly, to really keep your audience engaged. SEO optimization and creating rich content culture are considered pull methods, so meaning they pull users in. The following three options are push methods, so usually people opt into them. Because of this difference, it's really important for you to be strategic on how you distribute the following to ensure that those who receive it actually want it. Otherwise, it is no better than a cold email.
Yeah. So newsletters, for example, allow for an opportunity to share insights with particularly interested parties. Perhaps that prospective client who has potential, but the timing isn't just right. Do you have specific knowledge to share? So, for example, a white paper, a short book, or ebook that you wrote. This can be a great tool to give away business in a way to deliver before you're making an ask. And finally, we have the targeted email campaign. So targeted means that someone has either asked for the email or you have enough of a connection that you believe they would benefit from receiving it. So inbound marketing has been really a great tool for us to help us reach people. But what can supercharge your inbound marketing efforts? Make people pay attention when they see you or they see your name or they want to open the email in their inbox. They will say, oh, I've heard of you when you introduce yourself. So building your reputation and your personal brand will really entice people to do that and read your article, watch your video, reach out when they need help.
Yeah, so building a strong reputation is really important. You want people to associate your personal expertise with your company's expertise. When we think of companies like Apple, Facebook, SpaceX, GE, it isn't unreasonable to consider them to be synonymous with Steve Jobs, Mark Zuckerberg, Elon Musk, and Jack Welch. Now, I'm not promoting that you need to rise to this level of notoriety, but I'm trying to create a more exaggerated example of saying how a person can become synonymous with a company name, right? Forbes magazine has noted that our perception equates social proof to economic proof. So when you have social credibility, it will lead to economic impact. Additionally, your reputation is considered recession proof, meaning regardless of what's happening in the economy or within a specific industry, your professional and personal reputation will persevere and can really help you pivot in times where it might be necessary. Now, a word of caution. This is a good equals good and a bad equals bad situation. A negative reputation or bad press can also have the potential to create bad economic impact. All four of the leaders that I mentioned before have not been immune to this experience. And I think we can all think of moments when that has happened, right? So it's really important for you to understand that when you're building a strong reputation that is very closely interwoven to your company, what you represent is going to be reflected on your company, whether you like it or not. Now, in 2023, what are the most effective ways for you to build a positive reputation? Answer, via social media, and also through community and outreach and networking. So let's take a look at those.
So we're all familiar with social media and the role that it plays in doing business. LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube, the artist formerly known as Twitter, still excellent places to engage with potential clients, to connect, to show your expertise, your personality, to begin developing a relationship and really demonstrate the capabilities that you are trying to sell. So similar to content creation, where when using social media platforms to build personal brand, it is imperative that you engage consistently. And we have some specific tips, specifically for LinkedIn, to help make your message reach a broader audience. So focus your strategy by posting intentionally. So a great resource for LinkedIn tactics, and one that I really like, is Madeline Mann. She calls herself the self-made millennial. And she has a massive portfolio of videos, YouTube. She also has some paywall courses on how you can improve your presence and your reach on LinkedIn. Be yourself, share what you're learning, what you're curious to know, create content related to industries that you are pursuing, and target companies that you want to connect with. Many companies have attentive social media staff who monitor and will interact with posts. So if a company interacts, it is the green light to keep the conversation going.
Yes. And next, video is really in. So injecting video into your branding strategy lets people get to know you and your personality. Not to mention, it's easier to get people to consume your content via video than it is written prose. Now, once you've posted to LinkedIn, the first hour is really important. Within this first 60 minutes, the LinkedIn algorithm is going to decide if the post that you made is worth spreading based on community engagement. So a pro tip here is to create what we call a LinkedIn pod. This is a group of people that you can message to help promote your post within those first really imperative moments. And finally, this is something you can implement today. LinkedIn does not like it when you insert a link within your post. So it will actually diminish the traction potential. So instead of placing that link within your post, we suggest that you either put it in your very first comment, so see comments below for the link, or after you post your content, edit the post and add the link. Those are both workarounds for how you can get around LinkedIn's rules regarding links.
Another effective and, should I say, feel-good way to build your reputation, cultivate a sense of community, and pay it forward is through a spirit of volunteerism and community action. So getting involved in an organization outside of work is a wonderful way to truly get to know someone and trust them. Often these are opportunities for people to share what they're passionate about and focus on the 3 R's. This is really important: referrals, reputation, and relationships. I am very passionate about many organizations and associations in our industry, such as Women in Localization, Women in Games. I'm involved with the Milwaukee Esports Alliance. I am part of translation associations and participate very actively. I volunteer there, for example, at the American Translators Association.
Yeah, and for me, obviously, Gala is a place where I really love to get involved. The Milwaukee Metropolitan Association of Commerce and an organization called Secure Futures, which teaches teens about financial literacy. So what does financial literacy have to do with language services? Well, more than you would think, but for the purposes of this conversation, it creates an opportunity for people to ask me, what do you do? It's really a unique networking event. I'm not carrying a cocktail in one hand and a business card in the other. Quite the contrary, right? I'm usually super casual, and the last thing on my mind is work. I'm chatting, I'm making friends.
And let's consider this quote from Sherilyn Castleman, executive coach and LinkedIn Sales Insider. Establish your credibility, showcase your warmth and human side, and most importantly, be authentic, be vulnerable, be awkward. Clients want to connect with humans, not robots. All we are discussing these days is AI and the value that AI can bring as a tool within our service offerings. And AI can very much play a role in the sales cycle as well. But when it comes to the strategies that we are encouraging you to implement, we urge you to explore the power of authentic sales. When selling professional services, the goal is to identify a community and position yourself to serve that community over time. So let us give you some more examples of authentic sales. Here are what we would suggest to be primary components to executing human-centric sales strategy.
But before we go any further, we want to promote these two books. First, Getting Naked by Patrick Lencioni and How Clients Buy by Tom McMakin and Doug Fletcher. These are fantastic books for any sales professional, honestly, any professional. Both titles promote the spirit of consultative sales, and where we actually pull the reference for the 3 R's just a few moments ago. Now, a primary concept from Getting Naked is giving away the business for free, also known as deliver before making an ask. What does this mean and what does it look like in practice? When you are learning about a potential client's business, it's really common for you to make note of low-hanging fruit, right? Where are the easy areas that you think you can make a significant impact right away? Don't save that information. Don't withhold it until after the contract is signed. Share it. Give it away right away. But Colleen, then why would they want to pay you if you're giving them the solution? Because that single solution or that single insight isn't going to solve their problem. They want a consultant. They want a change maker. Your 1 or 2 insights will demonstrate innovation. It's going to demonstrate your generosity, and it's going to help to build trust. Sometimes you're going to give the idea and they won't hire you. So what, right? You're building a positive reputation and you're being generous.
And to add on to what Colleen was saying, we wanted to share this quote from Walt Schill, formerly of McKinsey and Accenture. I actually don't think you can sell professional services. I think you have to help clients buy them. Clients have problems and they need help in discovering, understanding, and tackling them. Once people realize you help them solve problems, then they will come back. So providing value right away to the client, just as Colleen was saying, can really go a long way. Next, tell your story. There are many moments when statistics are going to matter, KPIs, data, but people also love to hear a story. How did you get started? More often than not, the stories of how people landed in language services are unconventional and they can lead to more stories. I love talking about how my mother founded Terra, the legacy that she built. It makes me proud. And it's often proof to our clients that I will stand behind my team because this is bigger than just one job, one contract, one client. This is really my family. So think about your own story, or even the story of how localization created change and growth for you and your organization.
Listen, as I encourage my son, close your mouth and open your ears, right? We are often so anxious to talk about our company and our services that we forget the most important part, listening to the potential client. More often than not, they have done their due diligence. They've looked at your website. They know about you. So they really want to hear about how you can help them versus the facts about your company. So some of the best advice I ever received is, you've had a good meeting when the client speaks 90% of the time. So if you struggle with active listening, or you have a tendency to maybe jump in a little too early, whenever you have the urge to speak, when you're, especially in these initial client meetings, I really encourage you to pause for 2 Mississippis, right? This is enough time that the other person, if they want to keep talking, they will. And you may have given them just enough time to give you that golden nugget of information that's going to help your proposal be awesome, or tell you what their primary pain point is, or what their ideal budget is. People don't like dead air, so let them fill it in.
And when they don't feel that silence, use it as an opportunity to demonstrate your knowledge and expertise by asking thoughtful questions. So making suggestions to show your forward thinking and keeping not only their goals in mind, but really understanding the goals of the other stakeholders. Be curious. Have a standard list of, I don't know, 10, 15 questions, and then jot down more as they arise. Your questions may inspire points of conversations that the potential client hadn't even thought about bringing up.
And finally, sometimes you need to embrace the long game. The sales cycle in our industry is far from standard, and there are going to be potential clients that you want so badly that you can taste it. There are many instances where you will do everything correctly. You curate this incredible relationship, but the timing just isn't right. At that point, you need to cherish the long game and look at it as an investment in the long-term success, right? Well, we'd love every relationship to be open and shut after the very first meeting. This is rarely the case. So especially when you're adopting these authentic sales strategies, you need to think about what else has a long game result, and that is the relationship itself. The staying power, sustainability, and the increase in switching costs are going to make up for this type of patience.
Now, what if you are on a limited budget or don't have the capacity to invest time and financial resources? So first, investing in inbound marketing tactics is a great budget option because while ads and sponsorships are faster, they are more expensive. So by developing your inbound marketing strategy, you're investing time over money. And also don't forget about the free tools that exist today to leverage that.
And next, pour yourself into creating that own unique content. It will allow you to develop your niche on your own terms. And how clients buy, they promote that professional service providers who are well known to the world they want to impress do two simple things. They niche themselves and become known for that niche. So pick a focus and stick with it. Promote your business through your personality. Remember, people buy from people. Oftentimes they can want to work with you just as much as they want your service. And finally, allow your network to work on your behalf. Talk to your connections about who they are and who they know, and stress the importance and value of referrals.
We have reached the end of our session, but we hope today has stirred up a lot of questions, opportunities for you to think and evaluate how you're approaching your potential clients and also what kind of relationships you really want with them. So we'd love to hear from you now, either impressions or feedback, what has worked, what hasn't worked, any questions that you'd like to ask for us in the group. This would be a good time. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Yes.
Well, Colleen and Marina, thank you so much. This has been wonderful. Very to the point, very of substance. We like that. Let's see. I would say people could either drop a question in the chat or they can even raise their hands and we can open the microphones, I think. What do you say? Are you game for that?
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Okay, let's see.
There.
Paolo, I am going to open your microphone. Go ahead, Paolo.
Hi, I was sorry, I was writing and it would take a long time for me to write the question. So thank you for opening the mic. I was just going to comment. Thank you, Colleen. Thank you, Marina. This is a really interesting topic for me because this is where I live my daily basis. And sales is really hard. And cold mail it was most of our strategy, because we don't have budgets to hire a lot of salesperson or a marketing team. So cold email, it was like the main strategy of our sales department. Let's see, that was running only by me. So what you presented, it matches a lot what we are thinking of doing in the future, regarding the LinkedIn, the post. Thank you for the tip about the link. I didn't know about that to put in the comments. So I just wanted to comment like that because it's really hard, and it's good to see that some of the strategies that we are thinking matches with what you presented, and thank you for that.
Nice. Yeah, thanks for that insight, and thanks for being transparent about that. I do think that what you're saying likely resonates with a lot of people who are on the call today. And it certainly speaks to me, because especially when you're in a space where you're only one person and there are only 24 hours in a day, and you ideally don't want to be working those 24 hours in a day, you're constantly thinking, how can I maximize my time? Right. And so I think that's really where the appeal of the cold email comes in, is how can I cast the widest net and try and reach the most number of people, right?
Yeah.
But I really have come to appreciate this idea of investing in time and the quality of effort and building your personality. And I know you personally, so I think your personality is just so dynamic and incredible, and that people will appreciate getting to know you personally so much more. And so I'm super excited to hear how this works out for you, and would love to learn about how it's going along the way. So I know that we'll connect during our program meeting.
Yeah.
So
yeah, of course. And one thing is that I've been learning, it's to patient resilience, because sales is a lot of no's, and you have to be aware of that and be resilient with that. And the other thing that I would say as well is, you already mentioned, it's know your niche, because it helps you to understand your expectations. You don't expect, like, I don't expect like 1,000 people send me messages or anything like that, because my niche is really narrow. So I don't expect a lot of people coming in. But in this, it helps as well with your expectations while you're working on that. So thank you for
I also think, Paolo, I also think about how, if email has been your strategy thus far, think about how you can make it as warm as possible if you are reaching out to someone you don't know, but you think could really benefit from your services. How can you make it as warm as possible, in the sense, like, perhaps you've been following this person for a while, they're involved with a certain organization, they've given a talk about a certain topic, so maybe you can engage with them, connecting about those same interests, and that will make it a lot easier for them to really want to engage with you and like really want to connect with you, and they don't feel like, oh, they're just trying to sell me something. They don't care about who I am or what I'm passionate about or anything like that. So it always really does help so much if you put that warm touch.
Great. Thank you very much, and thank you for the presentation.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, Paolo. It's great to receive comments this honest and wonderful. And just very quickly before you take the next question, what you guys were saying reminded me of a book from the 90s. And yes, I am that old. I'm dating myself here. There was this book that said markets are conversations, basically. And that is what we need to focus on, right? Conversations among people.
Absolutely.
So, and for those who are interested, the book was the Clue Train Manifesto. And I don't think you can find it in print anymore. So old is that.
I'm going to write that down.
Yeah. There's another really good one that I read years and years ago, but I always go back and think about that book, especially if you are a solopreneur or like one single person, doing the sales and the marketing for your team. It's the marketing for solos. And it talks about marketing specifically, but it's really, really insightful in how you can present sort of your pitch or your, your company or your service in a way that will get people's attention. So I recommend that one too.
Okay, excellent. I feel like I have my crowd here. We're all bookies.
I know.
Books aficionados.
So pretty.
Let's take the next question from Cecilia. Do you have someone monitoring your online reputation? And is there someone at Terra in charge of content strategy?
Yeah. Marina, do you want to take that one?
Yeah, monitoring the online reputation, not really, but we have so many people that we know that if they ever see something that we should know about, we hear about it. Like we have so many, we have a really big network of linguists that have been working with us for years and years and years, and they know us and trust us, and they will let us know if there's something that we think like we should know about. Like like we've had before where people were using some of our marketing assets, for example, without our permission. Things like that, that you want to know about. And so we hear about it. We just have a big network, but we do have someone in charge of content strategy, though. We have a marketing director that manages the strategy, and then we have 2 other people doing the marketings per se, and then 1 person doing the social media. So that's our marketing team.
Okay.
What I will say too is that was a fairly recent development too within our expansion of efforts. So only until a couple of years ago, it was primarily 1 person who was handling all of our marketing efforts. And so it definitely is something that it can be a great, and actually we encourage it to continue to be a grassroots effort of everyone taking personal responsibility for their own branding and promoting the reputation of Terra, right? We have a friend named Todd Cohen who says everyone is in sales, and that really is the case, that everyone within Terra represents sales, the sales department, and represents our company. But I will say too, a good thing to consider doing, especially if you have a longtime client that you really have a good relationship with, is to ask them what their perception is of your reputation in the industry, or as a vendor. This was an exercise that we actually went through when we were going through our brand refresh. The agency that we hired talked to some of our clients and asked them what their perception of us was as a company. And I even know that Marina got some insight into perception of branding and your image when she was at Loke World recently. So it's good to ask, people will be transparent and tell you honestly, or even through their questions, what they're asking you about your company, you'll get a good idea of what they think of you and what their perception is of your size and your capabilities and where you're based and what you specialize in. And those are all really good things to just be curious and open-minded about, because sometimes their perceptions aren't going to align with what your messaging has intended to do.
I think that's a really good point. Sometimes we're like really surprised about what you hear. So I think it's good to keep that open mind, like Colleen was saying, and maybe even consider changing a strategy if the perception that you're getting is not exactly what you want.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Good point. I see Cecilia has another question. Cecilia, I'm going to try and open your microphone if you want. Let's see.
Hi, ladies. It's good to hear from you. I'm just like going crazy typing here, trying to not make any mistakes, but typing too fast. Thank you for that. Very insightful. And I have to agree with the fact that asking your clients about the perception they have of you, especially if you have a third person doing that for you, you get a lot of feedback, and most of the content in our website comes from that. So it's actually a great tip. Yes. Next question was basically if hiring a director has had a positive impact on that strategy and if you actually recommend it.
I am very happy
so.
with our director, but she has been with us doing marketing for years and years and years.
Okay.
And when we thought about having her be the director was for her to get more help to be able to accomplish more things. But we do get a lot of inbound leads. So I think it's been a really good investment, definitely.
Okay.
It's been a really, really good investment to get just warm leads of people who engage with our content and are interested in learning more.
Mm-hmm.
Is that an external person or is it part of your company now, like staff?
It's a staff person, the marketing director. Yes.
Awesome. Thanks. Thanks.
Okay.
I could go for hours. I won't take the floor.
Well, just let me take another question from Maylin. And then if you have another question, I'll let you talk. No problem. So Maylin writes, I think one of my mistakes was to use a lot of terminology about the localization industry, as if my prospect should be aware of what we do. But it doesn't work when you're working with end clients. So the question is, what do you think about creating educational content for your target industry and attending their events to see what they are, the struggles that you can maybe solve, basically talking to them with their own terminologies?
Yes.
Yes.
100%.
Yes.
That's what you have to do. And that is why whoever's in charge of marketing needs to be really aware of what's happening on the commercial side of the business. Because people who are attending those conferences and talking to those potential clients are hearing exactly what you're describing. What terminology are they using to describe their needs and their processes, what they use, what they want, what their challenges are. And you need to use that specific terminology if you want to target that industry. So super important to be very well aligned and speak their language. No pun intended.
Definitely. I have a small announcement. In May, we will have Colleen lead an academy event, 4 sessions on business development. We already have the dates scheduled, so I'm going to post the link there. You can see the dates. Colleen is working very hard on about the program, developing it, inviting stellar guest speakers. So in case you guys are interested, just keep an eye on our website. And I see some clapping coming in through the emoticons. So that's wonderful. Cecilia, do you have any other question? I promised you some time.
No. No. I have, yeah.
Okay,
it's a
thank
topic
you.
that is very interesting, and many companies just don't do a great job. So Sarah has, and congratulations, ladies, you rock.
Yeah. And I was just wondering about the social media presence, because you guys have a great social media presence, but you know the social media is a chaos. There's a lot of noise. How do you stand above all that? I mean,
that is hard, but we have changed our strategy though, and we keep changing it because new things come up. And like, for example, Facebook was a thing when we started doing social media. It's not a thing for us. I mean, we still have it, but it's not really part of our strategy right now, just because algorithms change within Facebook companies' profile, that you will get 0 to no reach. So I think it's important to have an open mind with that too. If something's not working, don't stick with it just because you already have a lot of followers there, and you traditionally got good engagement there. Things change, so it's important to have different avenues and also have a way to reach your audience outside of social media too. So that's why newsletters or like if you have a blog or something where people can subscribe to, that's a great way to keep in their email inbox. and not be a victim of algorithm changing, because that's something, you know, they can change from day to night and suddenly you have no reach, you know.
Exactly.
So it's tough to depend on a third party for for reaching your audience.
Yeah, and so both Cecilia and Paolo were wondering what's the main channel for you today, and Paolo was asking what social media do you think is the best one?
It depends on what you want to achieve, though. It really does depend. Of course, LinkedIn is great because we are selling professional services, and many of the people we want to connect with are there. But that's not always, you know, the solution. You could be successful in doing, and I have seen people be successful in doing things like YouTube, and getting a lot of followers and a lot of traction and a lot of interest and leads through there. So it depends on what you know. I think it's important to be consistent though. So whatever it is that you choose, don't try to be everything for everyone, but just like choose one and try to be really consistent with one.
Okay.
One thing I'll add to here is to think creatively on how you can reuse content across multiple platforms. So if you spend a lot of time creating content about one specific topic, think about how you can break it up and use it on LinkedIn, use it within Instagram, use it within YouTube, so that you aren't feeling this pressure to constantly create new stuff. You can continue to create traction using the same thing, just pivoting it a little bit.
Repurpose
Yeah, repurpose it. That's exactly what the word I was missing. Thank you.
Great. Would you guys consider using AI for content creation?
Oh my goodness. We are really open with using new technology. We experiment a lot in our company. We have really an innovative spirit. So I'll be open in trying things, but right now for copywriting, that's not working for us right now. Doesn't mean it won't tomorrow though.
Okay, great. There's one more question.
Today we have writers. We have human writers doing our content.
Still the best option. We have another question from Lourdes. Do you have any client experience team that helps with strategies for reaching and engaging with new clients, as well as making your actual clients still choosing you?
Yes. We do.
I like it. I never heard of it described as client experience. We use the term customer success manager or client success manager, but it has that goal.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
Excellent. Thank you. Let's see. I think we answered all questions. I think there's a lot of food for thought for everyone. So thank you so much, Colleen and Marina, and everyone who attended and everyone who engaged with us. Just let me give you the schedule for the next few weeks. So on November 30th, we're going to have a sponsored webinar with Bureau Works. But before that, on November 15th, we'll be in Stuttgart for the Gala Localization Forum. So if you're in the neighborhood, please join us. We have a great program with 7 presentations going from quality to business automation to machine translation and much more. And that's it for now. Oh, yes, there's one other thing. We're going to have a virtual town hall for Gala members on December the 6th. Just keep an eye on our website and we will talk about AI and all the innovation that is coming our way and how to survive that basically and thrive if possible. So once again, thank you, Colleen, and thank you, Marina. It's been wonderful to have you and we'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Bye so
Thank you,
much.
everyone.
Thank you for joining us.
Bye-bye.